Please note that this educational video was produced a generation ago. For that reason, it has been re-edited with new graphics and audio in order to give the viewer a more clear presentation of this timeless hairstyling education. Keep in mind that the techniques used in this video have been with us since the 19th century and will remain in the realm of barber styling for years to come. Welcome to the Michael Della Penna hair design series. Michael Della Penna has won recognition and awards in both national and international hairstyling competitions. His work is in the forefront of hairstyling and fashion innovation, and can often be seen in leading hair industry publications. Michael has successfully trained many students and professional hairstylists in hair design styling techniques, salon-client relations, and the art of international competitions. We are confident the winning techniques contained in these lessons will give you the insight necessary for personal and financial success as a hairstyling professional. Part 1 is the razor over comb technique. Start at the right corner, working very gently. Begin with an angle of approximately 45 to 90 degrees. Remember that the lower the angle, the more hair you'll be cutting. To start off safe, try to use an angle closer to 90 degrees from the scalp in order to remove less hair. Also remember the amount of pressure applied to the blade should be equivalent to the weight of the blade. One way to achieve clean and even strokes with the razor is to visualize the blade of the razor as polishing the cuticle of the hair. Hair that has been properly blended with the razor will be able to achieve greater movement and combing in the final blow dry. When completing your razor over comb technique, use the comb to direct the hair for the razor. Continue towards the forehead to texturize the frontal fringe. Comb the hair downwards and use a scraping technique to guard against gouging the hair from one side to the other for even razoring. Part 2. Scissor over comb, utilizing the Della Penna panel-to-panel technique. Before starting your scissor over comb, try to mentally visualize 5 panels on the head, 1 on each side over the ears, and 3 in the back of the head. With a smooth rhythmic motion, begin at the bottom of panel number 1. Using the scissor over comb technique, the comb must move slower than the scissors. Repeat the cutting technique on this section as many times as needed. This panel must be evenly cut, because it will be your primary guide for your entire shear over comb, including the sides. You will find by working your panel over and over that your tapering will be very clean with no steps or lines in your haircut. Moving on to the next panel. Again, begin at the very bottom working upward using the same exact rhythmic cutting motion. Also notice, we are using a wide tooth comb for easy visibility and for removal of hair. Notice the repetitive circular movement of the shears while it follows the comb to the top of the panel. This skill set technique must be practiced continuously. To become an expert with this scissor over comb motion can take years of a particular kind of practice, called deliberate practice. When most people practice, they focus on the things they already know how to do. Deliberate practice is different. It entails considerable, specific, and sustained efforts to do something you cannot do well, or even at all. Working on a technique that you cannot do will turn you into the expert you want to become. Finding a mentor or trainer who can teach you directly and provide feedback, insight, and direction is one of the best strategies to becoming an expert. Remember that experts never stop learning and are constantly updating themselves on the latest trends, research, and best practices. You can learn through formal education, practical experience, and continuous reading. If you develop expert-specific skill sets, other stylists and beauty industry manufacturers will develop more respect for you and want to get to know you better, which can help you network and increase your reputation and earning potential. On to our third and final back panel. Always begin your panel at the bottom and move steadily upwards. Pay attention on how you hold and direct the comb. This is referred to as eye-hand coordination. As the comb moves up the head, keep the teeth pointed towards the ceiling at approximately a 45-degree angle. This prevents any deep gouging and lines in the hair. The bottom of the comb must be pressed into the scalp to force the short hair to come out at a perpendicular 90-degree angle in order to direct the hair through the teeth so that the scissors can cut the hair. The movement of the shears must imitate the movement of a clipper blade so that the hair is cut smoothly. The more you repeat this technique over and over on each panel, the more even the hair will be in this panel-to-panel step. This will ensure that you do not have to return to the bulk removal part of the haircut. Continue using scissor over comb technique. Working slowly but accurately, begin cutting around the curve of the left ear section, cutting all the hair that comes through the comb. Again we repeat that the bottom of the comb must be pressed into the scalp to force the short hair to come out at a perpendicular 90-degree angle in order to direct the hair through the teeth so that the scissors can cut the hair. Pay close attention how the comb is placed behind the ear and how it drags the hair out so that the scissors are able to cut it. Repeat this until you have cut all of the hair that comes through the teeth of the comb. Moving on to the opposite side, use the exact procedure around the right ear section. Make sure to work precisely and repetitively by going over the area multiple times to ensure even cutting. Part 3. Shear point technique. Begin at the right sideburn using the point of your shears and a tapering comb. Continue around the ear, creating an arch. Moving slowly with the back of your shears on the neck. Aim the point of the scissors to the extreme bottom corner of the neckline. Opening and closing the point of your shears, you will start to see a soft line appear. This is called shear point technique. Working around the left ear and neckline, also creating an arch around the ear. You will find it easier to approach this area from behind your model. To start your line, use shear point technique. Work downwards from the top of the head to the extreme bottom corner. Here you have the beginning of your second line. Part 4, Razor Outline. Our next step is to complete our outline using the point of the razor, with a scraping technique and working small sections. Place the razor point on the line created by the shears, placing your fingers above the blade and pulling away from the blade at the same time. Here you can see the technique clearly at work. Repeat the same procedure on the left side, again using the point of the razor around the arch of the ear. When razoring in your line on the left side, remember it is less difficult to work from behind and above your model. Notice the pulling of the skin and the pulling of the razor in opposite directions at the same time. Once we have our outline complete, we have framed in a very clear view of the unfinished neckline. Now we know exactly what neckline hairs need to be removed to create a beautiful shadow taper fade. Part 5, Scissor over comb taper fade. Using the small end of the taper comb, return to the scissor over comb technique. Start at the very bottom of the center panel. We are now sculpting in our final neckline. Continue to work slowly and cut a few hairs at a time until you are happy with the finished neckline you are creating. Remember to occasionally step back to view your work so that not too much hair is removed at one time. Remember, we as hairstylists are artists of hair design, and we should think of our clients as our canvas, with our scissors, combs and razors as our drawing brushes. Combined together with proper technique and understanding, we can create quality work along with self-confidence. Use both ends of fine-tooth taper comb to help create a smooth fade. Keep the point of the scissors within the body of the comb. If the comb moves too fast, there is a chance that the scissors will jump above or below the comb, causing holes in the taper. It is important to stand back every few minutes or use a mirror in order to have a clear view of how the fade is developing. Remember that a freehand taper fade is an art that can take years to develop. Part 6. Finishing blow drying techniques. Use a natural bristle brush and a narrow air nozzle when styling short hair. This technique will help to close and stretch the short hair into place. The blow drying and styling techniques are an important part to the finished style of almost any haircut. Here the blow dryer is set on high speed and high heat. We have a narrow nozzle attachment for a forceful airflow that is concentrated between the bristles of the brush and the surface of the hair. This technique helps to close the cuticle of the hair, which creates more shine in the hair for the finished look. The natural bristle brush used in the back of the head and down to the taper fade helps to put the short hairs into place for an aesthetically beautiful finished neckline. To comb this particular classic style, use a fine tooth comb and the palm of your hand. Working steadily but slowly, you can feel the effect of the razor work in your final combing. You will see how easily your comb glides through the hair. When combing the entire surface, keep the teeth of the comb slightly into the hair as if it were floating. Both hands need to be used so as to create very controlled strokes with very light pressure in order to have a clean finished style. Here is the finished look of the beautiful tapered neckline utilizing the classic art of shear and razor overcome technique. If you like this tutorial lesson, please share it with others. And do not forget to click the subscribe and the like buttons to help promote our haircutting education channel. Thank you very much.